A 21-year-old making $5 million a year from junk removal? At just 17, when most people his age were just partying and many doubted he could pull it off, he went all in on business instead of college. Now he's running a multi-million-dollar company. But how did he actually do it?
Funny story, I had a conversation with my dad. My room was in the basement. I walked upstairs and I'm like, hey dad, I want to make $1 million before I'm 21 years old. And he literally got like pissed at me. He was like, dude, what the you got to think realistically, like all this stuff, you know, just a fatherly standpoint of like, want to see good for you.
It breaks people's beliefs and it blows people's mind about what's possible for a 21-year-old. What sort of standard have you had to have in your life to reach those goals at such a young age?
I mean, I'm not going to like sugarcoat it. Like,
Welcome back to the Built Local podcast. Today we have Logan Sullivan from the Junk Punks. Quick story on Logan. I saw Logan on Layla's Hormozy's Q&A and I was starting Review Harvest. This was like 2 years ago. And I DM'd Logan. I think like a week or two later, he responded. We hopped on a call and he's been a Review Harvest user ever since. And his business, Junk Punks, has blown up. It's just absolutely insane. He's incredibly young and absolutely killing it. So Logan, for anybody who doesn't know who you are or Junk Punks, tell them a little bit about yourself.
Hey guys, so my name is Logan Sullivan. I started Junk Punks removal service when I was in high school. Just a little backstory. So I was in property management, working as a leasing agent during my senior year of high school. I had a really cool like work release program where I was able to work during school. And at that job, I was dealing with a lot of the vendors at that apartment complex. And I noticed that every single month we had to call this junk removal company and they would come pick up around the dumpsters and do like quick unit cleanouts for people that left stuff. And I saw the invoices that they were charging us. And I'm like, dang, these guys are making really good money. Like that was my whole check. And they just did that in like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I really started thinking about it. And I was like, they pulled up in this like shitty truck. The communication was awful. There was no clear pricing structure. They just told me the price when they showed up. I didn't know how they came up with that. They were late. There wasn't communication. Like they didn't like the fact that I had to get approval from my manager to do the job. So there was a miscommunication that way. So I'm like, these guys are making so much money and they don't even know what the hell they're doing. Like their process is awful. And I was thinking, I was like, dude, if we could, like, I could do the same thing. I know all these property managers in my area and I could start this company and just do 10 times better of a job than these guys are doing. So that's exactly what I did. I quit that job. I started the junk removal company called Junk Punks. When I was still in high school, I was 17 years old. And yeah, we started running that. I reached out to all the property managers that I knew from that job. And that's how we got our first bunch of jobs. Kept us busy for a month or so. And that gave us, you know, funds to start running Google ads and Facebook ads and get ourselves going that way. And then it kind of just carried on. Long story short, I moved down to Florida. I opened up another location in Tampa. And then we opened a third location in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And then now we've continue to expand our Tampa market into basically four sub-markets. So we have 4 big counties that we operate out of, and we're opening up our second office for this area October 1st. And then we plan to open up the Fort Myers market, which is going to be a brand new market for us. Plan to do that November 1st to 15th. Still is like some truck delays on that. But yeah, man, it's been a long journey. I've known Clay for a while. As soon as we started using Review Harvest, or as soon as Clay showed me Review Harvest, I just thought it was so genius and so good. Like there's all these other review companies that do something similar to what Clay does. Clay showed me off the bat, like most companies, they send you the net promoter score question first. And it's like you rate 1 through 10. And then after they submit the 1 through 10, then if it's good, then they'll get a link to get a review. But it's like the people that are actually going to go in there, do the net promoter score, and then also leave a Google review. Like you're just going to lose out on your chances of getting a lot of Google reviews. So Clay's process, the personalization of it with AI and just how intricate it is was just like mind blowing to me at the time. And I was like, dude, this is just levels above anything else that anyone has.
Yeah.
And in our market, we were able to pass the number one Google page for junk removal businesses was 1-800-GOT-JUNK. They've been around for 15 years. They have over 2,000 reviews. We just passed them in reviews last month. So we have like 2,100 now. They're under us.
Yeah.
Funny story. We've hired a couple old employees from that location and they had a Google business, like they printed our Google business page on their whiteboard. They put it up, they put theirs under it. And their whole goal was like, guys, we need to fucking get more reviews than Junk Punks. They did that like every single day for 2 weeks. And every time they looked at it, we had more reviews than they had. And the manager came in there and was like, fucking take that off the board. We're not making any progress.
Yeah.
Off the board. So like, it's awesome, man.
Dude, I love that. That's an amazing story. They just can't compete. They can't compete. Well, and that's like, we're not talking about small numbers here. Like, y'all, I look at y'all's account. Y'all are getting like 5 to 10 reviews every single day. Like, just like clockwork. And so you're 21 now. Are you 21?
21 now, yeah.
All right. And tell, just so people know that like how amazing your business is and how amazing Junk Punks has been, how much revenue did you do before the age of 21?
Oh, that's a good question. So probably total revenue, probably over 5 million.
Amazing.
We're on track for about $5 million a year right now, like rolling 12 months. And that number is going to keep going up. We got the Tampa market opening up. We got the Fort Myers market opening up. Yeah. Our goal for 2026 is 20 million.
Okay.
So,
Amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and like most people, it breaks people's beliefs and it blows people's mind about what's possible for a 21-year-old because a lot of people listening to this will have kids your age. And nothing against, going to college and doing the whole thing. Nothing wrong with that at all. But like you're 40, 45, 50, whatever, however old you are. And, you can do this. I promise you. There's kids, 21-year-olds that are doing 10 times the amount that everybody else is and honestly just getting started. And so when you started, how did you like make those original connections? Like if you're starting a a junk removal company and you're trying to get connected with property managers or realtors, how would you go about doing that now from ground zero?
I think the most successful people in any business are people that like fell into that business because of a need that they found, So like if you're thinking to yourself right now, like, damn, I just want to start a business. What should I start? And you have like 4 different options in your head, something like that. I really tend to say like, look for a need that you deal with in your life every day, something that's not up to your standards, because that's going to give you the conviction that you need to actually sell that product. You know the pain points of your clients, you know what they're going through. So for me, it being in property management, it was so easy to go to property managers and say like, guys, I know what you're going through with the junk removal stuff. Like I used to be in property management. I know exactly what you need. I know you need the communication. I know you need to know exactly when the crews are going to arrive. I know you have to get approval from your managers after we give you the quote. I know you need good commercial pricing. I know you need to be on your vendor list. You need W-9. You need insurance forms. It's like you already know exactly what that person's looking for if you have been that person in the past. It's like, yes, I was lucky because I was already kind of in the industry where I knew property managers, but it's like that's why I picked this industry, because I knew property managers, So I'd say really look for something where you can instantly apply any resources or any value you have right now. And you might not think, you might be broke and you're sitting at home and you're like, I don't have anything, but that's not true. Everyone's got something, you have some kind of past life experience. You have some kind of connection that someone, works in this job and been interested in that career or something like that. How to, look for customers to sell to, look at the people, and say, what do they need, and then provide that product for them. But on a more fundamental basis, if you're looking to find property managers, looking to find real estate agents, it's very simple. Real estate agents, they love promoting themselves. So you can literally look online and go to Coldwell Banker and you find all their agents in Tampa, a list of 500 of them with their emails and their phone numbers right next to them. Like the first 2 weeks of business when we started in Tampa, it was just me and Ryder sitting at a desk, emailing realtors all day. We would send like the Gmail max email was like 500 emails sent. We both would max out every day.
Yeah.
And our domain was like messed up from that because we were just like,
And it wasn't
automation. We were typing every email and it was just 500 a day. And it was, So like, and from that, I think we had like 3 or 4 responses, 3 or 4 jobs we got out of thousands of emails that we sent. And that kept us busy for week 1, week 2, So if you're doing cold outreach, volume is just the most important thing ever. Like you talk to people all the time that are like, I'm doing cold calling, but I can't get clients. Like, how many calls did you make? They're like, I made 20 calls in a row. And it's like, okay, yeah.
Sounds like a good 15 minutes,
Yeah. It's like call for 12 hours straight and then do that the next day. And if you have no results, then maybe you got something you got to look at. But the volume, whatever you think the volume that you need to hit is, just 10x that,
Yeah. Okay. So you're 17, you're still in high school, you start Junk Punks. You're busy with property managers and reaching out to those people and getting jobs there. What was it like finishing high school? And then was it even, by the time you graduated high school, was it even a question whether you were going to do college or a different route or, trade school or whatever? Or were you just like, no, we're all in on this?
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah. So my plan that I was kind of telling my parents through like my senior year, like I did not want to go to a 4-year college and like study something. I played basketball in high school. I always had the aspiration of like going to a D1 school, playing basketball. But when I really started getting into business, it's probably my junior year where I really knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur and I really wouldn't use school for anything I wanted to do in my career. That's when I kind of, and then on top of that, my parents weren't going to pay for my college or anything. So I was like really thinking, I'm like, dude, there's just no way I'm going to go 50, 60K in debt and then also do something I don't want to do. Yeah. So I think from my junior year, it was really solid. Like it was clear to me that like, I got to figure something out now. Like I'm not going to college. So it's like, I got to make money. And then the job I had a really good, route to a pretty good job for when I was going to graduate. And it was funny. The main reason I quit that job is because I was like, hey, when I graduate, I want to be a property manager. and I was definitely qualified. I was really a really good leasing agent at the company.
Yeah.
And the only reason they wouldn't let me is because they said I had to be 18 years old to be a property manager. So I was like, well, I'm not going to graduate and just keep working the same job for 2 months. Like, you know how long that is? Like, you know how much you can do in 2 months? So I quit that. The decision to really do it, I think, so I had about a month left of my senior year of school of overlap from when I started the company. And that first month just went so good. Like, obviously there was tons of pitfalls and issues that happened, but we did like $20,000 in revenue month one. So I saw it was possible. That's more money than I've ever seen in my life. It was a funny story. I had a conversation with my dad. I came up, I had my room was in the basement. I walked upstairs and I'm like, hey dad, so I just made my goals for, you know, when I graduate and stuff. And here's what I want to do. And I told my dad, I said, I want to make $1 million before I'm 21 years old. And he literally got like pissed at me. He was like, dude, what the fuck? You got to think realistically, like all this stuff. And he was coming from such a, you know, just a fatherly standpoint of like, I want to see good for you.
Yeah.
And you can't just set these crazy goals and expect to just hit them because you're setting these goals. I was like, no, dad, I have a route to this. Like, look, here's the company. Like, here's this company. If we just got to do this, and this, and we'll get there. And he like still was like upset with me that I was setting these crazy goals. That was a moment where I was like, I went back down to my room and I was like pissed off and I was like, fuck, you know, like even I tell my dad something like this and like it made me realize, you know, you have to believe it in yourself before anyone else is going to believe in you. Even if it's your family, your best friends.
Yeah.
Like I told all my friends about this idea and they were making fun of the industry. They were making fun of the name of the company. They were making fun of just the idea that I thought I was like cool because I was asking people if they want to work. Like you're going to hear all this stuff from everyone. You have to keep that vision alive for yourself because no one's going to keep it for you. So yeah, that was when I had the conversation with my dad, it really kind of put some fire under me to be like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to like actually try to hit this goal. And yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. So yeah, I totally resonate with what you're saying. Like I deal with doubt all the time about whether I can do it or whatever. But at the end of most days, I do kind of have to like light that fire of like, hey, I'm that guy. Like I will make this happen, period. Nobody's going to stop me. I'll know whether it takes me a year, whether it takes me 20 years, like I will figure it out. And I think just that is something that's probably comes from competitive drive of playing sports or whatever. But it's like some people just don't have. Like some people might just not have that, you know, because you just said that 2 months is a long time. And I guarantee you like that's because you're 21 and you've done so much so quickly. So like, yeah, of course, 2 months for you seem to get a lot of progress. But for most American, even myself, you know, like 2 months, like 2 months just kind of slips by, you know, but that's incredible. So talk about what sort of standard have you had in your life to reach those goals at such a young age?
I mean, I'm not going to like sugarcoat it. Like I definitely have not had the, you know, young person experience of like partying all the time and hanging with friends every night and sleeping over at people's places and stuff like that. Like it's really work. And it's been nice because like I've been able to integrate my personal relationships with my team relationships. Like all my best friends work for me at this point, you know? So it's like we're achieving our goals together. And that's like, for me, that's like the best type of friendship. When like, I know your goals, you know my goals, and we're both working on the same goals. Like there's nothing better than that. You know, it feels like it's so normal to me now of just like, the only thing I really focus on is work, is getting this stuff done because it's really become my life. It's like, you know, where I go to, you know, connect with my peers. Like I'll go in the office and it's like, those are the best conversations I have with my guys after you know, the time is done for the day and we're just sitting in the office, you know, throwing the shit back and forth. Like I don't have some crazy like routine or morning schedule. It's like I get up around like, you know, some days you have to get up at 5 a.m. if you got something early. Some days you get up at 6, 7 a.m., work until about 6, 7 p.m. at night. But really, it's like the thought of work in my mind, the thought of us achieving our goals never leaves my mind. It's like I'm always thinking about that. And it's been easy because I'm surrounded myself with people who are also thinking like that. Anytime that starts to slip or your motivation starts to go, I can always just look back at my team and say like, damn, all these guys have made a commitment to me and really they've decided to help me in my goal and take an opportunity and risking their careers or risking opportunities that they had because they believed in me, you know, when I told them that we're going to do this. So I think that's one of the like life hacks is getting people around you and to hold you accountable, you know, and that will keep you going, you know?
Yeah, for sure. It's like if you want to be a jacked body builder, like go live with a bunch of jacked bodybuilders for a couple of years, and like you'll probably end up being a jacked bodybuilder. You know, if you just surround yourself with those people in that environment, you know, good things just happen from that. And so let's get really tactical here. Let's talk about somebody listening to this who's starting their junk removal company or their home service company, but let's just say junk removal. And maybe they've gotten a little traction and they want to do, let's say they want to do 100 grand in their first year. So sound very doable considering you did 20K in your first month. What are kind of the steps and the necessities of things you need to get in place to do that from a, operations perspective and then from a marketing perspective?
Super easy when you give a scenario like that. You want to make $100,000 in a year. All right, break it down by the month. So you're going to need what, like it was $8,000 a month in revenue.
$300, yeah.
Okay, break that down into the week. So we're going to need about $2,000 a week in revenue, or $2,100 a week in revenue. Break that down by the day. Let's say we work 6 days out of the 7 days of the week. We're going to need $200 a day, or whatever that, 300, 250, $300 a day in revenue. If our average job size for junk removal, and yours might be different because maybe you're underquoting jobs or your prices aren't up to industry standards, but let's say your average job price is about $400 to $500. You only got to hit $300 a day. So you need one job a day to hit your goal. All right. Now on the marketing side, we know we need one job. How many leads do we need to get in the door to get one job? So that means if 10 people call me, out of those 10 people, how many of those jobs am I getting on the schedule and am I winning? Let's say my close rate is 50%. 50% of people that call, I'm getting on the schedule. That means to get one job completed a day, I need 2 people to call me every single day. Okay. How do I get 2 people to call me every single day? I can do cold outreach to reach out to people. I can go knock on doors and ask people if they want junk removal. I can run a Facebook ad and ask many people at the same time if they want junk removal. You can run a Google ad. So when people are searching for it, they'll click at your ad. And all those are different methods of payment. If I'm taking my time to cold call people, that's my time that I'm using. It's free, but at a certain level, it's not free because it's your time. With Google ads, you have a pay-per-click model or a pay-per-call model if you're using local service ads. So if it's a pay-per-click, all right, there's, a handful of Google Ads agencies that can do junk removal ads that are very standard. They're all the same thing for the most part. Like there's nothing crazy to Google Ads. You have general, keywords that people search up, and then your ad's going to pop up for those people that search those words. So general cost per click you're going to get with Google Ads is anywhere from like $5 to $10. So on average, you should be seeing leads that are $50 per lead on average. So if you need 2 leads a day, you can expect to spend about $100 a day in digital marketing to get 2 people to call you a day. So that's the easiest route. If someone's saying, I want to start a $100,000 a year business, I'd say, okay, start the business up, make a Google page, run Google Ads on it, and run enough budget to have 2 people call you a day, and you'll get, one job of those a day.
There you go. You did it. You got the $100,000 business. And so what about from a growth perspective there? Now, like, all right, so we want to get to.
Yeah, I'll just continue on that. So that's just like that same principle stands if I'm trying to get to $100 million or if I'm trying to get to $1 billion or whatever the case is. It's like you need X amount of clients that pay you X amount of dollars, and that's the mathematical formula. How many jobs do you need? How much money are those jobs giving you? That's the 2 levers that you can move at any time. Your pricing, and then how many jobs you have on the schedule. Yeah.
So where did you get hung up when you started first month's 20K per month? Where was like the biggest pitfall for you that you had to unlock? Was it a new acquisition channel? What was it?
Yeah. So our truck, when we first started, we had one truck. We were maxed out at 20K a month. I wouldn't say maxed out, but we were close. I mean, we maybe had capacity for $30,000 a month with our pricing. But we were basically working every day doing jobs and making that amount of money. Yeah. With that amount of money, we didn't have enough extra money left over to buy another truck or to hire more employees to actually run that truck, So it did take us a while to realize the only way this business works is if one truck can make, $50,000 a month plus in revenue, and it's like, if you're working all day and you only can do $1,000 in a day, max you can do is $30,000 in a month. So your model is not scalable. So you have to adjust the pricing. For junk removal, AJS, average job size, is probably the most important statistic. It just lets you know how much your average client's paying you. And that allows you to actually predict the future. Because that way I know if I can correlate how many jobs are on the schedule to how much I'm paying per lead, I can adjust my budget anytime I want. And then I can make the calculations to do the estimated revenue that this budget should get me. So it took us a very long time to adjust our pricing and get our average job size high enough to where we know we can predictably make a profit on these jobs. So I think once we did, that's going to be the hard part, is adding on your second truck. So I think it was, probably 5 months into business before we added our a second truck. So it really took us 5 months just to get our pricing right.
You're saying like it's a long time. Most people would be like, yeah, I did it in 5 months. I got it done. But that just goes to show your standards like 5 whole months to get a whole nother truck for our brand new business.
Yeah. No, but like it's such a hard business lesson because I can come on here and say as much as I want. Like you got to price what the industry charges. If you don't price enough, you're not going to make money. But then the main question is still going to be like, hey, I'm not making money. I'm not making enough money per job. How does this business work? And the answer is you're pricing too low. And because you're pricing too low, maybe you're beating out your competitors, but it's not going to give you that profit that you need to be able to profitably acquire a customer and then use that profit to get more customers. And if you don't have that flow going of having profit to increase your marketing spend to get more customers, that's the snowball effect. And as soon as that's going, you're not going to grow your company. You're going to sit in the same spot for a long time. And you've seen it. You've seen junk removal companies that are 5 to 10 years in business, and it's still one guy running a truck himself, and they charge the lowest prices in the area. And there's a reason they do it, because it's just there's no growth opportunity for that company.
Well, what are some strategies that y'all have implemented to increase average job size?
When we first started the company, I didn't have like an idea of like how the industry worked. I just thought that I thought of this idea. Essentially, I was like, we'll get a trailer, we're gonna pick up junk, and we'll just charge by how much space it takes up. And then a month in, I was like, I learned about competitors. 1-800-GOT-JUNK, college hunks, and I was like, screw these guys. We're gonna do it differently than them because they don't know what they're doing, and we're gonna do this better. It was just me being naive, and I didn't want to watch any educational stuff on the industry because I thought I was doing it my own way. Once I found out about how they charge, the fees that they add, why they add those fees. Like, I didn't even know that clients would pay more money than I was charging right now. Because if I went to a job and I said $300 and the client, would be like, oh, that's a lot of money. I would start negotiating the price. All right, can you do 250? Could you do 225? All right, we'll do 125 for it. And every job, you're just lowering the price down to the bare minimum. But what you start to realize is if that same client, if I said, hey, the price is $500, they're going to say, ooh, that's a little high. Same exact reaction to the first price that I said, So it made me realize it's not about charging less. It's about creating the value to actually show the client why that price is worth it, what it is. And if you're getting to the estimate and you are struggling with objections where they're saying, oh, that's just too much, you haven't created enough value yet for that client to accept that price. Giving a rundown of how we work. So for example, Clay, if I'm doing a job for you, I'm not just going to walk in and say, all right, Clay, what junk do you have? Where are you getting removed? I'm going to build a rapport. Hey, Clay, how you doing, man? Hey, I saw you're moving out. Where are you guys moving to? Oh, nice. What are you doing with this space? You getting rid of it? Or, okay, gotcha. Oh, and then that way you can start finding value keys. Oh, this person needs this stuff out by Tuesday because they're moving. This person, they just got a divorce. So they're in a very tough spot right now. They have to get this stuff moved out of here and they don't want to deal with it. And they're actually pissed off that they have to do this because it's reminding them of their ex, whatever that they just broke up with, or someone's grandma just died and they're dealing with this situation. So you find the situation that the person is in that will help you form your pitch for the sale. You find out what they actually need. Because if you want the stuff, let's say, Clay, you have until the end of the year to get the stuff cleaned out of this warehouse. I'm like, trying to sell you on the fact that we can do it same day. Yo, Clay, we're same day service. So we're so good. Here's our same day price. You're like, oh, that's too much. I mean, I don't even need it same day.
Yeah.
But if I take a different approach on that and I understand, I say, I understand that you don't need the job done today. I'm going to find, my pitch is going to be different based on your value keys.
Yeah.
So finding out what the client actually wants, and then learning how to explain the pricing. Because even if I give you a super accurate quote, and then you say, I don't understand that. Can you explain the weight fee on that? And I'm like, the weight fee, it's like, okay, then you just lost credibility. They don't believe in your quote. Or if I'm giving you a quote and I think, I think you're between a quarter and a half, but I'm really not sure. I'm just going to quote you at a half. Boom, you lost credibility. You're not sure of your quote. Just being incredibly confident of your quote. Like, hey, Clay, so I took a look at everything you got. I have you at a quarter load. I'm sorry, did they tell you how we price over the phone? No, they didn't tell me. Oh, okay, I'll give you a quick rundown. So we charge based on 4 ways. We charge volume, weight, recycling fees, and then labor. On this job, all this stuff's by the curbside, so you don't have to worry about any labor on this. Recycling fees, you do have a mattress, so there's just a $50 recycling fee on that. And then space, I just have you at the job minimum for $125. Total brings you to $155. If that works, we can pull the truck up right now and get started for you. I'm not opening the question saying, does $300 work for you?
Yeah.
You're going to say, no, that's too much. Just treating every job not like a negotiation, treating it like you're giving the price for the services that we're offering, and you're going to properly explain every single price to where when you say that price, you say that fee and you explain it, they're like, okay, that makes sense. And then by the time you get to the end of your quote, there's nothing really for them to disagree with because you already went over everything with them.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, that's really clear. I mean, talking about the different ways you charge and walking through each kind of line item there. What is when y'all are quoting, are y'all able to do stuff over the phone, or do y'all have to do a lot of stuff in person, or what does y'all's quoting process look like?
So that's a big one too. Initially we used to quote everything over the phone. So people would send us pictures and we would provide an estimate. And then until we had an agreed upon price, we wouldn't send a crew out there. We've totally flipped that model. We don't do any pricing over the phone. What we found out is that when we would do pricing over the phone, you give a number and the client would say, all right, let me talk to my wife. I'll give you a call, let you know if that works. And then they would call another company. Hey, I just got a quote for 225. Can you guys beat that? Yeah, we'll do 224. All right, send the guys out.
Yeah.
And then you just lost a lead like that. You just lost a job because someone undercut you,
Yeah.
But if you go out there and you say, hey, so how we work, our guys go out there in person, they'll take a look at everything you have and they'll give you an exact quote based on the job that you have there on site.
Yeah.
That way our guys can go on site and they can see the yard waste in the backyard that the client didn't mention. They can see the old TV in the garage that they need to get rid of. They can see the, stuff in the attic, or there's opportunities to find more junk that this client is going to need removed in the future anyway. And we can give them the best price right now because we're already here on site. It's right here. I got my partner here. We're ready to lift this stuff up. If you don't take our quote, you don't get charged for this, but we're here right now. Let's just get it done for you. And we found closing rate went way higher. Our average job size increased from doing that.
Yeah.
That's been a very big component of increasing the AJS too.
I bet. Yeah. I mean, I bet I could imagine people are sending you photos and they're purposely not including the one, this one piece over here. They're purposely not, including certain things or letting you know how hard it's going to be. But then when you get there in person, you can upsell them, you can build rapport, and you're right there with the truck ready. And so that's awesome. Well, I wanted to talk about your guys that are out in the field. They are selling. Like they are selling. They are, getting money from customer there, saying, hey, this, that, and the other. And so how have you trained that in your guys? How have you gotten them to be able to close? I mean, do you have like a closer in each crew who can close? Do you split up the sales guys? How does that work?
Yeah. So we run scenarios every single morning. So every single morning, our mornings start at 6:45 a.m. All the guys are in there and someone is up for a scenario. So what that means is we have a full description. Like, for example, one of the managers will be the client. Let's say I'm the client. I'll have a full description of, in the office, we'll just use the physical items in the office, the desks, the chairs, whatever the case is, paint, tires, stuff like that. And then we'll have like pre-made objections or pre-made things that we're going to make complicated for whoever's doing the scenario to actually close the job. And then it'll just be a live thing. So like they'll give the courtesy call. And we have a grading form. So there's 30 points that people have to hit. And then if they hit those 30 points, they pass the scenario. If they don't hit the 30 points, they don't pass the scenario. And we found that the guys who have the best numbers on the truck are the guys who hit all 30 points on that scenario. And the guys who don't close the best on the truck are the guys who can't hit those 30 points. And a lot of times you're going to find out that the people that aren't hitting the 30 points, they don't think that the scenarios are important. They don't think that they need to be doing this. They don't think that these aren't realistic. The clients in real life are different, but it's not about that because it's all about before the sale, how you're establishing value with the client, how you're building rapport with the client, So yeah, just live training every single morning. And then the guys, someone will go, after they go, everyone gives feedback on it. What did they do good? What did they do bad? And everyone talks and then someone else will go. And that's just every morning. So if we hire new people, first day in the office, that's what they're seeing. They're seeing a live scenario, how things are supposed to be, how things aren't supposed to be,
Yeah, no, and it just creates that culture and that environment of just volume and repetition. Like that's one of the hardest things right now. I hired my wife full-time, Carly, and she's doing sales calls and onboarding calls. And like I go into she's like, okay, how do you run a sales call? How does this work? And I'm just like, well, I just have like pretty much a response for every single objection because I've been on 1,500 sales calls with business owners, so I know like if somebody says something, there's nothing that someone's going to tell me that I haven't, overcome before or said. And so it's just that repetition where I'm sure your guys out in the field, they say X, Y, and Z, and it's just second nature. They're like, oh, we practiced this morning, there we go. And so how do y'all, if you don't mind digging into it, how do y'all compensate? Do y'all do some sort of incentive for sales and stuff like that for your guys, or how does that work?
Yeah. So basically, as you go throughout the day, the more revenue you do throughout the day, the more your commission will go up throughout the day. Okay. So it really incentivizes guys to work late too, and hit every job in the schedule.
Yeah.
A lot of times we get super busy and we got to move jobs back, and then what will happen is that if there's no incentive for the guys to want to hit those jobs, they'll either, if the client was trying to cancel, they won't object to the cancellation. They'll just let it happen, or, they overquote a job to not have to do it or something like that. I mean, you have to have incentives for your guys to be able to make more money, but a big part of the incentives too isn't just sales. It's not just closing the most amount of money. It's the soft skills of the job. So like putting out yard signs, putting out door hangers, getting Google reviews, All these are metrics that we track for every single person, because a lot of times you can't control the jobs in your schedule. You can't control if you get 4 couch pickups that are just single items, but what you can control is your effort on that. How are you putting the yard signs out? Are you getting the Google reviews on those jobs? Like, we have guys that will go to these jobs and they're like some lady and they'll get like 3 Google reviews. Like, they'll ask like her husband to leave one and her son to leave a review too. And it's like, yo, I just hit this job. It's got 4 Google reviews. And it's like, oh, yeah, like incentivizing that for the guys. So
Yeah. So what's the biggest misconception when it comes to the junk removal industry?
yeah. So I think the number one misconception is that it's like an easy industry, or that it's some sort of like shortcut to a business. Every single business is the exact same. Like, you have to build a process for getting new talent in. You have to build a process for training that talent. You have to build a process for serving your clients. Eventually your job is just building processes, not even doing the actual job itself, right? So junk removal, the hardest part of the business is the people side of it. Getting guys that like doing the job, but then also keeping them motivated to show up on time, be courteous, and, get the extra, push on jobs, build rapport, be friendly to the clients. Like, it's easy to get employees for this business. It's extremely hard to get really good employees for this business.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's the hardest thing. 2, it's like people don't understand all the costs associated, I think, with junk removal. Like, marketing is very expensive in junk removal. You have a lot of cost of goods sold that you don't think about. Just the idea that junk removal is some sort of like easy business model is just not the case at all. I'd say it's one of the harder business models. Like, there's a lot of simpler stuff that you can do than to start a junk removal company. There's a lot of logistics going on, operational pieces. Like, you're in an office with, all dudes. So a lot of times, like, stuff gets, heated. Like, people are and they're busting ass all day. And then, you come back to the office after a long day and you have to hold someone accountable to something they didn't do that day. And it's difficult sometimes. And then, but the second you stop holding people accountable is when your business will go to crap,
Yeah. No, that's huge. I mean, most people don't even understand like dump fees or anything like that. They just think you just pick it up and it just disappears, Well, let's talk about marketing for a bit. I know y'all kill it on Google with reviews. Obviously, I know y'all kill it on Google Ads. When you were getting started, how did you learn Google? Did you try and learn Google Ads, or did you hire somebody immediately?
We tried to learn Google Ads ourselves, and we spent thousands of dollars trying to learn it ourselves, wasted money, a lot of stuff like that. And then eventually brought on agencies to do it for us.
Gotcha. Are y'all still using an agency, or y'all doing it yourself now?
We still use an agency.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And it's just the reason we use an agency is because there's so much just upkeep work that's with Google Ads to just change keywords and just tweak stuff, that an agency really just has the data in place to make better decisions than you do on that type of stuff. Unless you really know what you're doing, but I would recommend it's worth it just to offload that responsibility for someone else,
For sure. Well, I'm sure after doing as many jobs as y'all do, you've got some crazy stories. So tell us a crazy story about removing junk.
There's a lot, man. Let's see. Dude, we've had like 5 vehicles get totaled. We've had insane clean outs. We had a situation a few months ago where a client wanted a boat trailer removed. And we took the wrong boat trailer. We took the neighbor's boat trailer and cut it up and removed it.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
That's rough.
No, like, it's actually like the situations that will happen that will test your patience are going to be this industry. There's second to none, It's like stuff happens every single day that's crazy. And that's really why a lot of people like the business, because every day is so new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to be removing and what you're going to find in somebody's house, I guess.
I mean, we've done clean outs for like prostitution houses. Like, we've seen just insane stuff.
Jeez, I bet. Well, right now you're posting content. You and Ryder, y'all posting some amazing content on the Junk Punks YouTube channel. Walk me through what's the thought process behind starting to create content on YouTube.
Yeah. So that's kind of when I first started the company, I was posting TikToks on just what I was doing. We're starting the junk removal company. Here's day 1. And I would do like day 2, day 3. And I would kind of just share tips that I've learned. And a lot of those videos went super viral on TikTok. Like, even, I would say, not even super viral, but a lot of them got like, 300, 400, 500K of me just talking about this stuff. And so many people were reaching out saying, can you teach me how to do this? Can I open a location of junk punks in my state or my city? And I was like, dude, I think with the combination of social media and what we're doing, we can completely take over this industry.
Yeah.
And that's when the goal was to was to franchise and use social media as a vehicle to cover the entire company, or sorry, to cover the entire country in Junk Punk's franchises. My thought process was it would take a year to get to that point, and then we would sell franchises and we would cover the whole country. There was a lot of learning that I had to do, and so much of the business that I was arrogant on and didn't understand. It's been a 3-year process instead of a 1-year process. But we've finally gotten to that point now where we're comfortable. We have a product that we're comfortable releasing to the entire country, knowing that there's no one that's topping our services, junk removal. There's people that can try to compete with us or companies that look like us, but customer service, we're second to none. Once we had that complete, I knew that we are good to begin franchising and telling the world about what we're doing. So starting about 4 months ago, that's when we started posting on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and really just telling everyone what we're doing, trying to get people who are interested in opening franchises, people who are interested in working for the company, people who are interested in just selling for the company, or if they want to work up in a director role or franchise training model role. There's a lot of opportunity for anyone who has the drive. And that's really what's so good about social media is like the algorithm is so good now. Your videos get shown to people who like really connect with them, you know? In the people that reach out to us and they've been watching us for years and they're so invested in what we're doing. It's just like, you can't like there's no sort of marketing that can really compare to that. You look at other companies and what they've done, like 1-800-GOT-JUNK, for example, they had the opportunity to do a lot of television marketing and radio marketing, commercials, stuff like that. But it's just nowhere near the level that social media is today to reach out, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, honestly, if I am 1-800-GOT-JUNK or College Hunks or any of the other, chains out there, franchises out there, and I see a 21-year-old kid that's done, I say kid, obviously you're not a kid anymore, but just to exaggerate the point of how young you are, a 21-year-old kid that's on pace to do $5 million this year in junk removal, got the content, got everything going. And the coolest thing too is you've already like shown this in the interview, like you've admitted so many times that you were wrong and that you can learn from it, that you're naive in this position, or whatever. And like 21-year-old that's already proved his business is going to do $5 million this year, who can learn and understands that he has room to grow. Like I would be shaking in my boots if I'm them. They better watch out.
And now it's starting to like people from those companies are starting to see what we're doing, and they're reaching out to us without us having to reach out to them. They're saying, "Hey, I work at this location, and this is my position, and I like what you guys are doing. I want to work for you." And it's like as what we do keeps getting bigger and bigger, that's going to keep getting bigger and bigger and snowballing. So that's like the other part of the business that's so important is just making the best workplace for your employees. Like that will save you right there. Like if you have a place that people love coming to work every single day, if the business does get in a troublesome situation, you have people that are willing to help you get out of that situation because how much they love the company. But you treat your employees like shit, you don't give them a good work environment. The second that you need them for something, they're not gonna be there for you. So that's been huge for us too, is like being loyal to our employees. And then when we say we're going to do something, we talk about promotions, growth opportunities. We don't lie, we don't bullshit. We tell them the truth, and they know that. Like if they're not going to meet the company standards and they're not going to have the same aligned mission that everyone is here to do, they won't be at the company anymore. If they will have that aligned mission, they will do what they need to do in their position. The growth opportunities are endless here, and everyone knows that. So
Yeah, and touch on that real quickly about how do you keep employees happy? What are some things y'all have done in the office or whatever to just foster that company culture of like, hey, we're here for another, we have each other's back, and we're growing together?
Yeah. So one thing is the quality of vehicles that your guys are driving. I know it's incredibly difficult in the beginning of the business. Like myself, we had just the worst quality trucks. Like these things would break down, they'd be super loud and noisy inside, and it really does suck for your employees to have to come to work every single day and drive these trucks that are either unsafe or just, pieces of crap that are dirty and stuff like that. So having good equipment, that's one thing too. We get all these guys from other companies and you wouldn't believe how often they're like, damn, you guys have some nice like tools and equipment over there. Like we had one Sawzall that we shared between 3 crews, or like we had 2 dollies that 5 crews had to like share and go between. So it's like something like that. How do you expect your guys to perform if they don't even have the tools they need to do that,
Yeah.
So making sure that they at least have the tools that they need to do what you want them to do, then like that's just doing your part as an employer to them.
Yeah.
After you supply them with what they need, then you can have the conversation of, are they doing what they need to be doing? If you don't even give them what they need in the beginning, you're setting them up to fail. So first, provide them with the tools. Second, one thing we do is like snacks and food in the office. We always have the fridge stocked with energy drinks and We
Oh,
got
yeah.
granola bars, like all kinds of snacks outside. So when the guys come in the morning meeting, they like showing up to the morning meeting because they know when they come to the office, they got an energy drink and,
Yeah.
some snacks waiting for them. So like that's big too. They don't have to. Another thing, if you expect your guys to not stop at gas stations or stop for lunch for super long, it's like you got to make sure they have food and drinks for the road when they're working. So, like give them the tools that they need to do what you want them to do, even
Yeah.
as far as selling and doing their job. If someone's not performing up to your standards, like it's your job to go in there and tell them what they need to be doing and fix that and provide the training that they need to actually get there. If someone's not doing
Yeah.
what they got to do and you don't help them at all, like you're just as in the wrong as they are, for not doing what you need them to do. So really just giving care and attention to every single employee. I think too, setting aligned visions for the future with all your employees, like sitting down with them and saying, hey man, what do you want? Like,
Yeah.
not just in this job, but in life. Like, what do you want? Like, we had a one-on-one with one of our guys the other day, and he was saying, new guy, he's a killer. Doesn't never misses a beat. He's here every single day on time,
Dude.
absorbing as much information as he possibly can, trying out on the scenarios, volunteering. And he had a goal. He said, hey, within 3 years, I want to make $100,000. I want to make six figures. We set him on a direct path to do that
Yeah.
because he told us that. He told us what his goals are. We know what his goals are. Now we're going to help him try to get to his goals. And if he comes
Yeah.
in and says, hey, I'm not happy here, or whatever the situation is, we can sit down with him and say, here's what your goals were. Here's what we agreed on that you need to work on to get there, and you're not meeting your end of the deal.
Yeah.
Or he can come in and say, hey, these were my goals. This is what we agreed on. I am meeting my end of the deal, and you're not meeting your end of the deal to us.
Yeah.
So, but just by having that conversation, it keeps you guys aligned. It keeps you knowing what the future is for everyone. Because what happens is if you don't talk to your employees for a long time, they get left in the dark and they don't know what's going on, and they start losing hope. And they're like, I wonder if they even value me here anymore. Just
Yeah.
keeping consistent with your guys, setting goals for them, and then constantly checking in on how they're doing to achieve those goals.
No, that's huge. And I think the best entrepreneurs and the best businesses are able to cast a vision big enough to where there are amazing employees and amazing people that their vision fits within that company. Like I talked to somebody the other day who one of his first employees will probably walk away with $30 million after they sell their company. And it's like, and he's probably going to make 100 people at least $1 million, whatever, from his company or from the sale of his company. And so
Yeah.
you're just like, that is a whole nother ballgame to think about. Like, hey, how can I create an organization? How can I cast a vision big enough to where anyone that wants to come and work for my company and has a big goal, they can still fit within, they can achieve those goals within my vision, within the vision for the company. And so it
Yeah.
sounds like you're already doing a great job of doing that.
Yeah. And what you just said too, by casting a vision big enough, like
Yeah.
no one who is a beast, who's a killer, wants to be surrounded by small-minded thinkers. You know what I mean? Like they want to go in there, and what attracts those types of people is a big goal, like a big something big that they're trying to achieve. Like they like a challenge. So
Yeah.
if you go in there and you're like, hey, we're a small mom and pop shop. We're trying to stay small. There's not much growth opportunity here. Like who's gonna go work for that company and give it everything they got? It's like I wouldn't, like
No, 100%. 100%. Well, before we close out here, I wanted to review your history with Review Harvest. So you started about 2 years ago with Review Harvest. Do you remember how many reviews you had when y'all got started?
like 300, something like that.
Yeah, I have it in there. Y'all had 127 reviews when y'all got started. And after working with Review Harvest for over 2 years now, do you remember when y'all had 127 reviews? What were y'all doing to get those reviews at the time?
We were asking for them in person, and then we had the jobber review automation that would ask for a review after we did the job.
Gotcha. And so y'all had been in business for a little while. That got you to 127 reviews. And then you got set up with Review Harvest. Do you remember when y'all had 127 reviews? What number, kind of in terms of Tampa Bay? How many more companies had more reviews than y'all at 127 reviews?
Probably over 30, probably.
Wow. Okay, cool. And so now, after 2 years with Review Harvest, how's it going now?
Going excellent. We're number one in our entire market. So no one's got more reviews than us for our industry and our market. And it's crazy because there's like 10 plus companies that have been here for 10 or more years, So it's so crazy seeing that.
That's wild. Over 2,000 reviews, just absolutely killing it. And obviously, like I always say, y'all do the hard part of getting customers and making customers happy. our job is pretty easy. We do it, all day, 24/7. All we do is request reviews. So it would
Yeah.
be like you removing junk. It's like obviously you can remove junk.
100%.
It's in the name.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
But guys, if y'all want to watch some of Logan's content, Logan and Ryder are putting out content on the Junk Punks YouTube channel. I'll have that linked down below. I'll also have the Junk Punks link down below as well if you want to check out their site. If you're maybe in one of their areas where they're picking up junk and you got some junk you need to remove, give them a call. Obviously, they're the best in the game. And so, Logan, I appreciate you hopping on today, and maybe might have to have you on again sometime.
Yeah, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Clay. And yeah, guys, we just dropped a new YouTube video that actually is a day in the life of a junk removal employee. So if you've ever thought about doing junk removal or you wanted to work for a junk removal company, this is literally a day in the life of exactly what a crew will do all day. So check that out. But no, Clay, I appreciate you having me. And I love what you're doing, man. And since you started, I've been really trying to keep you, like, I know how good your product is. So I've been trying to tell you so much, like, you cannot quit. You need to keep going. You need to keep working hard, and you have. And when you started seeing success, like, I was so happy for you, man. So I'm really excited for your future and Review Harvest's future too.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. We'll have all that stuff linked down below. Drop some comments for Logan. I'm sure he'll be in the comment section. We're watching it. But Logan, you have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Clay. See you guys.